In an ever-evolving digital landscape, for your business to thrive, you must adapt or die. Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI, the podcast helping you harness the power of AI and marketing tools to revitalize and grow your business. And now here's your host, marketing expert and author of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI, Emmanuel Rose.
Welcome to Marketing in the Age of AI. I'm your host, Emmanuel Rose. Today we're joined by Wes Towers, the founder of Uplift 360, an innovative digital agency based in Australia. Wes specializes in crafting websites and implementing search everywhere optimization strategies that empower brands to improve their online visibility. He's dedicated to helping businesses seamlessly integrate AI into their marketing efforts, all while maintaining the authentic human connection that earns customer trust, which is why we're excited to talk today, Wes. Thank you so much for spending some time with me this morning.
Fantastic, Emmanuel. It's good to be with you today, coming from the other side of the planet. So always good to connect.
Now, I realize Australia is a pretty big place. So whereabouts are you in Australia?
Just outside of Melbourne, in a place called Geelong. So probably an hour or so just outside of Melbourne, down in Victoria.
Okay, that's one spot I have been is Melbourne. So
Okay.
And the countryside outside of Melbourne looks a lot like where I'm from in the Central Valley of California. Strangely.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, nice part of the world. So we're sort of down near the surf coast. So if there's any surfers listening, they might know of Bells Beach and so on. That's just around the corner, really, from us. So
nice. Well, how did you get into being a marketing guy? What transpired?
Yeah, well, it was kind of by accident, really. So back in the day when I was in high school still, and you do your careers counseling and advice and so on, and websites weren't really a thing back then. So no one advised me to get into the web design space and the marketing space and so on. But I pursued graphic design multimedia. I kind of liked the technical aspect and the creative aspect of that course. So I did that at uni. I got my first job in marketing in a Sydney company in the year 2000, and award-winning marketing company. I actually found them because they won an award, and just cold called them off the back of that. But yeah, started working there, and they'd never designed a website. So this is how far marketing has come since I started. I feel ancient now, but that was the year 2000. No websites designed in this award-winning marketing company. They had one computer connected to the internet on the dial-up modem, one email shared across the company. So I feel like I've been there since the age of internet being invented. Not really, but certainly when I started, not every business had a website, and certainly marketing wasn't all around the online experience, which it pretty much is now. Most marketing comes through online these days. So I feel like it's evolved. Yeah, I don't feel that old, but maybe I look it. I'm not sure.
Well, it's an interesting point that you bring up, in that we're so immersed now in digital marketing, we forget that there actually was a time before where we actually had to worry about newspaper ads and direct mail and event marketing in way more focused way than we do now. It's a big transition.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was more that broadcast kind of style, and you couldn't really track and measure anything back then. You sort of just did a flyers or ads in the newspaper and hoped for the best kind of thing. So things then moved into digital, which became a lot more easily trackable. So you could check the return on investment on every single thing. Got really granular. But it feels as though we're moving a little bit back to, with the search everywhere optimization, feels as though it's becoming less trackable again, just simply because it's not a linear path to any business. There's multiple touch points and social and LLMs, and then obviously websites through Google, and so many different interactions that people might have with a company before they even make an inquiry. So that's incredibly difficult to track. Feels like we've come a full circle in some ways with that.
It's so funny how as a professional marketer, we struggle with attribution. And as soon as we have our finger on the pulse of attribution, then, like you're saying, then something else comes in the marketplace and changes
Yeah,
that
yeah,
focus, the way that people get to us, right?
yeah. Well,
It's so
SEO has been a
interesting.
massive. Sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I was just saying the touch points, right? You have to have so many touch points now in a conversation, and people are self-educating at such a level, including the LLMs. Yeah,
yeah, 100%. I mean, with SEO, so we've done that for many, many years for companies, and it always kind of worked the same. So you'd set up the number of keywords that they wanted to rank for. You track the rankings for that, typically in Google and some of the other search engines. You'd see the rankings improve. You'd see the traffic improve month in, month out, and they'd be able to track the return on the investment really simply. But now,
yeah,
because they're getting the answer on Google itself through the AI overview, there's less reason to visit the website. So they're getting the answer. So therefore, how do you track that? Even if they're getting a brand mention in these platforms, really incredibly difficult. Everyone we were working with started to get less traffic when these
yeah,
systems started to roll out, and that was a difficult conversation to have with clients that we'd had for a long time because they'd seen regular improvement every month for years, and then all of a sudden there's less. That's a hard conversation
yeah,
to have, and explaining that to them. But the key point was it didn't result in less business being done as a consequence. So whilst less
right.
eyeballs on the website, not less business being conducted through the website, which was really interesting, and it's sort of a mind shift for a lot of people to deal with. So I think the thing to consider is if someone needs to engage with a business to hire them, they're either going to show up at their physical shop front if they have one, or they're going to show up to the digital shop front, being the website, particularly if they're going to make a significant investment. And we've got a niche with trades and construction. So the investments are typically they can be quite substantial. So before anyone purchases from these companies, they're going to do their due diligence and check out the website and make sure they are who they say they are.
Yeah, they're probably going to also look at some socials on LinkedIn or
Yeah.
maybe a portfolio on Instagram. Maybe do some research on uh, press releases or any kind of announcements and big time contracts that they fulfilled. So, and when we
Yeah.
look at GEO and compared or answer engine optimization compared to SEO, it seems like we have to continue to go broad with the interlinking, and that we need to have lots of social signals, lots of press signals, as well as a strong social presence. I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, 100%. The more, because the large language models do a fantastic job at gleaning information from across the web, all major platforms, anywhere really, they can glean information from. And so to be having a presence everywhere is really helpful. So search everywhere optimization. That's a frightening thing. Obviously, everywhere is a lot of places, but the goal is to be in as many places as you possibly can with your core message. And there's ways to streamline the process to make that happen. So as long as you've got something compelling to share, there's ways to take that one message and syndicate it broadly and customize it according to the platforms so you can be found. It's kind of an interesting space to play in these days. I guess a lot of the principles that applied for SEO now apply to show up in large language models as well. So the principles, the quality principles, not the tricky things that everyone tried tricks with
Right.
SEO over the course of time to cheat their way to the top. All of that stuff sort of stopped working eventually anyway. But the quality content, the quality information that answers what people are having conversations with, because it's a conversational language. Um, the more you can touch on those key points in the places you can control. So you can control your website, you can control your own social platforms, although social is really a noisy space. In my view, the goal is to bring them into your world, which is your website, and get a transaction being done.
Yeah. Now, if I'm going to boil this answer engine optimization down to some very specific things, the first thing I think is that you want to break out your ICPs and understand who your ideal client profiles are and how they're going to educate, and then work to answer all that on your website as best you can, right?
Yeah, 100%.
And then the second pillar is the FAQs in general, and make sure that you've answered those in a way that is very crawlable by the LLMs. And then the third part is the LLM.txt file in a JSON format. What do you think about that three-pronged approach, Wes?
Yeah, absolutely. They're all valuable. It's really difficult. I've had mixed results with the LLM text file. Sometimes it's done nothing, and sometimes it appears to do something. It's super simple to do, so I advise people to do it. It's just that it doesn't seem to move the needle sometimes. So difficult to understand. I suppose to think through these tools as what their end goal is, and it is to surface the best information for the conversation effectively that I might be having through whatever platform it is. ChatGPT is what I use. I use it kind of like my own psychologist half the time, having a chat to I call it my little person in the phone, giving me advice and everything. And that's exactly what it is. That's those conversations. So to have your brand show up in these conversations, well, you've got to be covering these topics. So as you said, to have a clear message that's compelling and uniquely yours, because the big danger is what people are doing is just publishing content at mass. And so they're relying on the tool to create the content. So it's not unique. So it's not adding any unique value to the conversation. Therefore, it's not going to help you really at all. But if it's the other way around and it's your core message, that your unique viewpoints in business and targeted specifically to your ideal target market. And see, that's why I really doubled down on niching over the last few years as these platforms came out. So because it's so much easier to target one specific type of person than it is just to go super broad, because it's really incredibly difficult to compete with everybody. But I can be a big fish in a small pond, which is what I'm doing. Were they the 3 points that I covered? Yeah. FAQs. Yeah. So, and because that's the way people are communicating through these platforms. They're asking questions, and so questions need answers, and you better be the one answering those questions for your target market.
Yeah. So I guess, how did you niche down into the trades? Tell us a little bit about that.
It was a little bit. Well, it was a lot by accident, really. See, people that sometimes make the assumption I was a tradie or into construction. I'm useless at picking up a hammer. I can't do anything. Can't hammer a nail. I would have no idea. I own no tools. However, for some reason, a lot of our best clients were in that space. And I think it was just for whatever reason, my personality related well to those types of people, whether they be the founders that I'm working with, or sometimes I'll have a marketing manager or someone looking after the marketing in any case within the entity. But for whatever, I guess my pragmatic approach resonated with these types of people. And now that I've been doing it so long, I'll often understand precisely what they're trying to do, because I've kind of done it before for other similar businesses, which is the power of niching. I think it really is an important factor for people to consider with the new world and where things are going with AI.
Yeah. Why do you think that niching is more important now in the age of AI? Tell me more about that.
Well, it's just so a couple of reasons. So one of the core reasons is the tech to produce the outcome is eventually going to be so simple that it doesn't need a technician like me to build the website, for example. So if there's no technician required, what value am I going to provide to the end client? Now, it's not at that point. I know there's some AI web building platforms and so on. We don't use them because they don't do a great job, but you can see the trajectory of where things are going. It's the getting the stuff done by a technician is going to be less important. People are not going to hire that skill anymore simply because they don't need to, and the tech will do that job. I need to be able to produce value some other way. So if I really understand a niche really well and understand what works and what doesn't work, because I've done it before in similar scenarios, that's a unique piece of value that I'm adding to the end client. So that's
probably the most important factor, but also from a marketing standpoint, it's just so much easier to stand out when you stand up for something. You can target them, and if you try to be too broad, because it's just so easy to mass produce content, there's a lack of trust in all industries now. Just no one trusts anything because they don't know if a human even read it, let alone that it's published, but they don't know if that author, they actually wrote it, or it's their views or anything. There's that lack of trust. So you've got to do everything you possibly can to cut through and be uniquely you.
Yeah, I like that. Explain to me a little bit about how podcasting is supporting the work that you're doing in terms of outreach and branding and authentic voice.
Yeah, it's fantastic to communicate that authentic voice. And see, obviously, people can tell I'm not a professional speaker or anything like that, but I'm me, and I'm uniquely me, and I'm like myself. And so in this day and age where people can produce polished, even videos, you can do these videos and they're not even a real person, and people feel a little bit cheated by that. I think the authenticity of a person and anything that you can do for a human touch point is really important. So this is me speaking, my ums and ahs and everything included, but it's just sharing my heart. And I think people will always connect with other people. We like to buy from people we know, like, and trust. And so podcasting is a great way to create people to firstly know about me and know I exist and know the business exists and what we're up to. But then hopefully some people might like me, and then they might want to do business with me because they know what I'm up to, and we stand for similar principles and values and all that kind of stuff. So it's great it's great for the message standpoint, but it's great. It's a collaboration in a podcast scenario. So you, the host, me, the guest, then we're going to share this podcast far and wide to our audiences. So we're doubling our audiences immediately at no cost, really, because it's costing us the hour or whatever to record, and then you'll do your editing and whatnot as well. But it's a low cost way to reach a far greater audience. And so that's what I'm up to. And I enjoy it as well. I enjoy talking and people and stuff. So it's good to connect with other people around the world.
Indeed it is. And you're able to get these little hints about what's working in other markets that you can release into your own market. And it helps to fill out the narratives and the conversations.
Yeah. I'd love to end up doing what you're doing, Emmanuel, and host one day. I'm just sort of finding my feet, I suppose, as a guest and learning from all the hosts that I've been with and so on. So
yeah, I think that's the natural part of the process. I mean, that was where I started. I was probably a guest for like a year and a half, and I'm like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to be a host. And then I'm finally like, okay, I got to be a host. And then I jumped in, and that was 300 episodes ago. So
wow, yeah, that's phenomenal.
Whatever I could do to help you, Wes, I'd be happy to walk you through our processes and help you get your show started.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and it's obviously been great for you with the podcasting, building your audience and so on.
I think for me, there's a lot of real solid benefits, but the biggest thing is getting to meet people like you, who are experts that I would never have access to in any other way. I've interviewed people from Intel, and I talked to a woman who's working on a biocomputer based on neurons, and these things that are fascinating, but that I would never have access to otherwise. And I think that really is the power of the podcast. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, look, it's been great just meeting the hosts, but yeah, once you're hosting yourself, you open up to all sorts of opportunities to talk to people. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, well, it's good stuff, Wes. And if you're ever in the States, come to Reno, and we'll take you out for a pint and a big steak, and we'll go to the biggest little city in the world. And I'd love to spend some time with you in person.
Yeah, likewise. Yeah, we do like a pint here in Australia, so have one over there. That'll be great.
Yeah, and if people want to have a conversation with you about the search everywhere or other things about marketing, how do they get in touch with you?
The website's the easiest first step, uplift360.com.au. From there, you'll find all the socials that you would typically find, even my personal LinkedIn. I'll connect with everyone. I know not everyone does that, but I'll connect with anyone who reaches out. people can book meetings even on the website if they want to, so we can talk in person.
All right. Well, I hope that you have a good fourth quarter, and love to check in with you again next year and see what new stuff you have going on in 2026.
Awesome. Thanks, Emmanuel. It's been great.
Okay. Thank you very much, Wes. You have a good day.
You too.
That's good. Good reminder from Wes that we need to be everywhere, and you have to decide what everywhere means to you. But the biggest thing is to keep your messaging authentic and on brand, and then syndicate it to the best of your ability or your team's ability. And there's probably some AI tools that you could use for syndication. There's a tool called There's an AI for that. That's a good place to look. Or you can go straight into Chat or Gemini and ask how to syndicate content so that it's accessible by the LLM. Or even better would be to call Wes and see what Uplift 360 can do to help you with that. Hope you've gotten value from the episode today. I also hope that you take some time to dig into an AI tool. Use that tool to get 3 to 5 hours back in your work week. And with that time, you continue to upskill, that you spend it with your friends and your family, and that you take the time to get outside to nature, away from the screens. This is Emmanuel Rose, Marketing in the Age of AI.
Thanks for listening to Marketing in the Age of AI. Be sure to subscribe wherever you heard this podcast so you never miss a future episode. Your copy of Authentic Marketing in the Age of AI is available at Amazon.com or EmmanuelRose.com. You can also connect with Emmanuel on LinkedIn. Thanks again for listening, and we'll